Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the Armourer. My name is Victor, and today again I'm joined by Blue. What we're planning on doing is scoring each and every spoiler that we have so far for Dusk Till Dawn, and we'll rate it. All right, back at the shadow cards. What are we looking at? First thing that was pulled was Diabolic Offering.
Yeah.
And if a card with 6 or more power has been put into your banished zone this turn, Diabolic Offering's power and defense are 6, otherwise they're 0. That's a Shadow Brood action attack. That's blue and costs 1. Of
And
course,
here's
there's
Blood Debt.
Blood Debt.
Yes. I don't know what to think about this card. For me, it's a 3. Like a potentially 6 power blue card or a 6 block blue card are nice. So far, I believe only the counterpart to Halo allows you to banish a 6 during your opponent turn. Not sure if there's other things. But like the main problem is that Levia, that being the Shadow Brood, wants 6 power attacks in the graveyard in order to banish them for her effects, and this one is not 6 power in the graveyard.
Yeah, so it is a bit clunky.
Yeah, it has some utility, but I'm just not sold on it right now.
I'm not sold on it as well. I'm gonna score it with 3.
Yeah. Then we have
This one's
Slithering
Slithering
Shadow Beat.
Shadow Beetle. That's a really weird creature there.
Yeah, it's a very ugly card.
Yeah, it's not only it's great. Look at the art; it's marvelous. It's a centipede that's made out of shadow. You
Yeah.
cannot go wrong with that.
If this was banished from your hand this turn, you may play it from your banish zone. It's a 1 for 6 that does not block Shadow Brood action, a Majestic. We'll see that later, but generally a lot of the new Shadow Brood attacks kind of have the Reiner restriction, where they want you to discard a random card from your hand, but instead of discarding, it's banish a random card from your hand.
It's not as much of a restriction as it is a gimmick, but I
Yeah.
think this is actually nice because that way you have way more control over your Blood Debt.
That's true, but then again, you need like more cards in your hand in order to make them function. Like this card is going to be insane if we have something that can be 2 for 6 go again if you banish a card from your hand. So with like a 4 card hand, we can attack for like 12 because you pitch blue, play the other one, banish this one, play this one afterwards. So yeah,
Go again. At this point, I think probably Shadow Puppetry.
maybe, but like it's already a 4 card hand even without Shadow. So
Yeah. So you need to arsenal it.
yeah, maybe. I think I'm just going to put this at 3 as well. I guess like you can just simply play it as a 1 for 6, right? You don't need to banish it. So it's maybe
Yeah,
not that
and
bad.
it would have been great if it had defense value.
Yeah, it's maybe not that bad, but like the no defense is kind of putting me off a
That's why I'm
little.
rating it. That's why I'm rating it with 3 as well. Otherwise, it would have been 4.
Yeah. Then we have Expendable Limbs, a 0-cost blue defense reaction for 4 on Shadow Brood this time. As an additional cost, you play this, banish a random card from your hand. If a card with 6 or more is banished this way, you may play it from your banish zone during your next action phase. So, in my opinion, this is great. I'd rate this immediately as 5, unless you just don't want to run like non-attack blues. Because it's just a blue symbol, right? And the thing you banish, you can just play next turn anyway. So, it's not bad.
So yeah, obviously a great card. If having something that doesn't have 6 power in your deck doesn't bother you, definitely this is the react to go for. Setting up your next turn with something that you'll banish to play it from your banish zone. Definitely rate this with 5.
Yeah, and actually, this card synergizes with Diabolic Offering, where you can play this, banish something that is not the Diabolic Offering, and then you can, yeah, and then block with the Diabolic Offering. So in that scenario, you can basically block 10 with 2 cards, and then during your turn, you just pitch something to play the card that you banished with Expendable Limbs. It's probably not going to happen too often, but like Expendable Limbs, I just think is just very, very strong, right?
It's a great card. Moving onwards to Ram Raider. That's a Shadow Brood action attack, 2 for 6. It's red defense for 3 this time, and there's an additional cost to play this banish a random card from your hand. If a card with 6 or more power has been banished this way, this gets go again. Has Blood Debt, and it has my seal of approval. I like this card.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be played. I'm not sure if it's going to be. I think this is definitely a 5. Like, let's be real. Like, this is the card I was just talking about that we needed. Like,
Yeah,
Slithering
with
Shadow
Shadow
Beat.
Beat.
And it seems that we're getting it. I feel like with Brute, any attack that can get innate go again is just good.
Yeah, because the other option was it Dread Screamer?
Yeah, like
that
Dread
requires you to
Screamer.
banish 3 cards from
Yeah,
your grave.
in my opinion, Dread Screamer is still better because you can play a bigger turn because it does not require cards from your hand. But like this is still not bad. I think it's
Yeah, but
just
play
not bad.
this in combination with the Dread Screamer, then things get great.
Yes. You can definitely have some devastating turns.
You can have a Brute go wide.
Yeah, like there's cards later that we'll see that will allow you to do some, in my opinion, insane things. If you're allowed to get to that stage, but
Okay.
that's
Moving on
spoilers
to
for later. Yeah.
Wall Breaker. It's a shadow protection attack for 2, attacks for 6. It's a red card, blocks for 3. If you've banished a card with 6 or more power this turn, this gets overpower. Now, this has meaning because 6 with overpower is better than the Bolting's 2 with, or 3 or 4 with overpower, whatever it was that we looked at. It has
Yes. If I have to be honest, I will put this at 3. Like, it's a 6 power card. I don't know, like, I may even put this at 2, because you need to have banished something before playing this in order for it to gain overpower, and this itself costs 2. And like the majority of things that you play that banish things costs 2 as well, right? So if you want to play Ram Rider into Wall Breaker, it will cost you 4 resources.
4 resources plus
Yeah.
banished cards.
Yeah, and like Runic Tunic isn't really an option for Shadow Heroes simply because of like how insanely good the Shadow Armor is for Monarch, the block 6, the Husk.
Carrion Husk is one hell of a card, and
Yeah.
it defends a lot, and it's a must, and it's an auto include in the deck. Plus, Brutes, I'm told, look very funny when they wear a tunic.
Yeah. So do we agree on like 2 for this card?
I might go 2 as well, yeah.
Shade and Screen is a 0 go again non-attack action for 3. As an additional cost to play this, banish a random card from your hand. Your next Brute or Shadow attack this turn gets +5.
Go again. I don't know if I like this one better than the old pump one from Monarch that you can actually play from your banish zone.
I kind of do not like this card at all. I'm going to give it 2 simply because I don't know. I just don't want to give it 1. I guess. You have to banish a random card from your hand. This does not feel that good, right? Like in baseline Brute, you have cards that are 0 for +4 that has Intimidate, right? Like instead of banish a random card to gain +1 more, it has just your opponent banishes 1 card until the end of turn, which is like way better. And it's once again a non-6 power card, so it kind of has like anti-synergy with like itself and the rest of things. So I don't think it's going to see any play. But once again, like if you make draft with like the new cards and the old ones, it's probably going to see some play.
Yeah, Barraging Beatdowns definitely.
Yeah, Barraging Beatdown is just straight up better in my opinion, like every scenario, right?
And Hope from Beyond as well.
Yeah, like Half from Beyond at least costs like 3, I believe, or something like this. Like there's some cost to that card as well.
Howl from Beyond costs 2, but you can play it from your banish.
Yeah, so just the slot this card occupies is like way too contested, way better cards.
Yeah, but it gives +5.
Yeah, but like you're attacking for like 6-7 anyway, so.
Yeah. Right, we know what the Battlefield Breaker. That's a Shadow Brood action attack with 7 power, costs 3. It's red, defends for 3. If you have banished a card with 6 or more power this turn, this gets +1. Does it make a difference if you attack for 7 or 8?
Not really, but the good thing is that it blocks for 3, right? And in Brute, people at one point were playing Smash with big 3 simply because it's a 7 attack.
Yeah.
And 7 is just so much better than 6.
And has no block value.
Yes, and this has block value, right? And the downside is I believe Smash with big 3 is 2 resources instead of 3.
Yeah, but this one has Blood Debt also. Smash with big 3 doesn't have Blood Debt.
Yeah, but like
generic Brute.
The more important part here is that it is it blocks, right? It blocks. And because the yellow version is going to have 6 power, it's also going to be playable. And unlike some of the other cards like this, where as an additional cost you have to banish something, this does not have that, so it allows you to just attack with 2 cards for like 7 or 2 cards for 6 if you're running the yellow version. So I'm going to put this at 4.
3.
No, I'm putting it at 4.
4 is too much. 4 is too much because it costs 3.
Yeah, but you're going to be running some amount of blues anyway, and like Brutes do want attacks that they can just send to the opponent without having to like banish from the graveyard or like banish from your hand. Like this is just very low commitment.
How are you dealing with Blood Debt if you don't banish from your graveyard?
You just tank the Blood Debt like a man.
Okay, no seatbelts with that like that. I'd still go with 3 for this card.
Yeah, but I mean, like the thing with Blood Debt is that this is a card that you'll be able to play your early turns, right? Because it does not turn on your Blood Debt immediately. So this is like yet another utility for cards like this. So that's why I'm rating it 4.
Okay, so do you want me to rate it 4?
It's on you.
Nah, it's still 3 for me.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Tribute to Demolition. Shadow Protection attack. That's red, costs 2, attacks for 6 and blocks for 3. As additional costs, play this banish a random card from your hand, which is already tricky. If a card with 6 or more power is banished this way, this gets +2, and it has Blood Debt. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, do you see my argument, right? Like, why would you attack with this when you simply attack with Battlefield Breaker?
Okay, officially Battlefield Breaker goes for Battlefield Breaker for Tribute to Demolition 2 out of courtesy.
Yeah, like, I guess there may be a possibility where you want to play cards that banish from your hand, if you want to set up a big Blood Debt that may have a utility, we'll see later. But yeah, I don't see it. I'm just giving it to you as well.
Yeah, but it has a really nice art, hands down. I mean, that guy looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I very much.
They are the shadow cards, the great the ambience and the feel in the art is great. It's not for lawful good CC loving Alliance World of Warcraft playing people.
Yeah, I very much appreciate, like at moments like this, I appreciate that the card game is for like 16+ year olds, so it's
Yeah.
you're allowed to have like things like this one, right, which is like even more brutal.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Bloodrock Fox token, by the way. I'm glad I have those in cold foil. The
Yeah.
art was really nice. Moving on to Tribute to the Legions of Doom. It's a nice name. Cost
Yeah.
3, that's a Shadow Reduction attack that attacks for 7 and defense for 3. And an additional cost to play this, banish a random card from your hand. If a card with 6 or more powers is banished this way, this gets +2, and it has Blood Death.
Yeah, so this is basically a tribute to the Magician's brother. I guess that's why I bought that there is a like tribute to
I was
something.
going to say, it is, yeah.
I'm going to rate it at like the same amount.
Yeah, let's
and
go with 2 and move on.
yeah, technically I'm probably going to give tribute to the Legions of Doom like 2.5, simply because like 7 and 9 are like way better numbers than like 6 and 8. Or just like one more resource. So yeah.
Okay. And that's Brute?
This is Shadow Brute. Like later there should be Brute.
It should be Brute.
Yeah.
Okay, to be honest, I was really hyped about Vincent. It's probably the hero that I was waiting the most. Looking at her, I think she will be playable, but I expected more.
Like I expected her to have a playstyle similar to Chain, but looking at her cards seems like not Chain at all, right? It's not a deck that's going to go wide.
Banishing from your hand doesn't help you at all. Banishing cards from the top of your deck helps a lot because it widens your hand. You can allow yourself to block with 3 cards. Just save 1 for pitch and they play from the cards that you banish from the top of your library.
Like, Chain's obviously broken, yes. we all know that.
This one is just crippling your hand at the beginning, preventing you from using Grasp of the Arcanite, or at least if you want, you need to pay an additional resource because the effect happens prior to you being able to use the Grasp, as we discussed prior. This is not great.
Yeah, like let's just read the effect so everyone knows what you're on. Vincent Iron Maiden is at the start of your turn. Banish a card from your hand, and if you do, create a Runechan token. So this is like the start of your turn means that you cannot respond to it, and it's not a May ability, which means that you can't play 1 card hands unless that 1 card is playable off of your banish zone for 0, basically. And like the worst thing about this is Grasp of the Arcanite, right? Where it creates the Runechan before you're able to activate Grasp of the Arcanite, making Grasp of the Arcanite cost 3, which may not be that big of a downside if this is a deck that's going to be running like 20-25 blues or something like this, which I very much doubt. And yeah, then the next effect is whenever you play a Shadow non-attack action card, you may pay 1 life. If you do, the next Runechan effect that would deal damage this turn can't be prevented. So,
okay, here I would have agreed if they said a non-attack action card, but does it have to be Shadow? There are not that many non-attack action cards that are Shadow and that you want to play.
Yeah, so we'll have to be looking for these, right? Like they need to release new Shadow non-attack actions. We technically have the seeds that Chain used. I believe they are now legal. That Chain is removed from the game.
These Living Legend, yeah. It's not removed from the game, is it?
Yeah, it's Living Legend, yes. So this effect is very nice. We'll see later it helps her trigger her attacks. It helps you deal with angels. If you're playing against Prism, it just like immediately pops them. They have absolutely nothing that they can do about it. It helps you close out games. Because you just trade your life for your opponent's life, and once again they can't do nothing about it. There's cards like Meet and Greet, which gain innate go again if you've dealt gain damage this turn.
And there's Consuming Volition that makes you discard a card, which is great. But still, I mean the Rune Gate mechanic that we'll see later on through the cards. Usually the better cards they demand 3 Runechans, and if you create 1 out of like banishing 1 card of your hand, you need to create 2 more, and there are not that many ways. Apart from Revelry Rumble, of course, for you to get a whole bunch of Runechan tokens that has go again.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the runes can create and there are attacks that leave Runechans behind, but they have no go again. So probably this is where you need to play the the Spellbound Creepers.
Yeah, maybe like I'm still far away from like solving this character, and I haven't really seen like a lot of her cards. Like the shadow spoilers are still coming in. But one thing I have to say, I have to mention is that there is a possibility that this hero is going to play a lot more like a Guardian, where you're going to be just setting up, and you're either going to be setting up big turns every 1 or 2 turns, or maybe there's even going to be a build that's going to be setting up something like a Bolton combo or like an OTK Viserai alike thing, because like her ability does not really give you card advantage in the same way Chain does, but it can still allow you to just pick and choose cards that you want to play later, and you just banish them with her ability. You're going to be obviously taking damage from the Blood Depth, but it still allows you to, like, after like 5 turns of like just blocking and banishing cards, to just have a turn where you have like 8 card turn or like something insane like this, where you have like chosen the cards you have instead of just getting them randomly banished the same way and chained it. But once again, we'll have to look at her cards to see if that's something that she can actually achieve.
We really need to see more cards, because the thing is, if you're trying to set up, you cannot block as efficient as a Guardian, and when something with a lot of disruption like Lexi and even Uzuri come to play, it will be very difficult for you to set up a turn.
Yeah, that's true. So her weapon is a Vincent specialization. Very strange, actually. I believe this is the first specialization that's a weapon. It says once per turn, you can pay 1 life in order to attack, so this attacks for 0 resources, and then when this hits, create a rune chant token. So this, in my opinion, this weapon kind of re-emphasizes this setup turn game, where you maybe just banish something, create a rune chant. But then again, like, if you create a rune chant and attack with the flail, it's going to trigger the rune chant, so that's like, you're not even getting like
no. It creates the rune chant on hit, which means that if you don't follow up with
but
the
I mean,
the rune
like,
chant stays.
Vinest is going to create the rune chant at the beginning of the turn, and then
Vincent.
yeah.
But then again, you're leaving one rune chant at the end of your turn attacking with the flail, and then at the beginning of your next turn you're creating one, so you've got 2 rune chants created already.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, so it's not that bad, and your opponent's probably not going to want to block 1, right? So
depending on the gear, because if it's
obviously,
a warrior playing
depending
violent
on the
dynamos,
situation.
there won't be a problem. The thing is, I like the card. It's a really interesting mechanic. I have it in core focus. I've won an Armourer already, but I don't think it will be that playable.
Yeah, like, obviously Rosette is like way better in terms of like location.
Do you really think?
But the thing is, like, if her playstyle is around setting up, like, Rosetta does not really help you set up. It helps you when you already have set up, I guess. But we obviously have to look at the other things. Like, this is.
I'm gonna score the flail. Let's
Yeah.
score the flail. I'll give it a 3 just because I expected more. Otherwise, it might be 5. It might be a must, dependent on her gameplay, as you said. But at this
Yes.
point, I'll just give it as a 3.
Scoring Vincent.
Vincent is a spaghetti monster. Yeah.
Vincent. I'll go back to this when I look at her cards.
Yeah.
We have Grimoire of the Hunt. This is a new card that I have not seen. It has an instant for 1 resource, banish this, create an Eloquence token.
Eloquence token.
It has Recant Barrier 1 and it has Blood Depth. So this is very interesting. This is an offhand which kind of synergizes with Flail, which we did not mention is a one-hander,
Yeah.
which I believe is it the only Runeblade weapon that's a one-hander? Not sure.
I think so. No. The rest are all 2-handers.
So they're obviously meant to be played together. Grimoire of the Hunt, I don't know. Like, I would have been way more hyped if that was a legendary and allowed you to use that effect indefinitely. But
you have a offhand. You use it once. You banish it.
It's a one-time thing. I feel like this is I feel at the very least a 4. Runeblade has a bunch of, like, let's first talk about Eloquence. The token is basically a quicken token for non-attack actions.
Yeah.
This is Eloquence. When you play a non-attack action card, destroy this card can go again.
So you instantly banish the Grimoire. You play Rig the Runes. You have 3.
Yeah, you probably have 4 because of Vinest.
Yeah.
So
Vincent's ability. So
it's definitely going to be your pop-off turn when you combine it with this.
It's just once.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you're running like the setup build, so with like Flail, you kind of have to run the Grimoire as well. So
Yeah.
It's good. Like, I think it's definitely good.
It is good. As you said, I'd much prefer to have a legendary slot offhand for Shadow Runeblade that does more of this, but we'll see.
Yeah, like the worst thing about this is I feel like if you're going to be keeping cards in your banish zone to play later, this is going to cost you life. If you're going to use Flail, it's going to cost you life. If you're playing Dusk, it's going to cost you life eventually. This is going to also cost you life because it has Blood Depth. The moment you use it, it's going to get banished. So
that's the idea. I mean, you generate a lot of Blood Debt, so that means that you need to act quickly in order not to commit suicide. And if you, as you said, if Vincent is like a setup hero, like a Guardian or something, you're on a ticking timer, and I don't like this.
Yeah, like the problem is, at least so far, that like the timer is just going to be very short, right?
Yeah. Indeed.
Okay, so next we get you Widespread Annihilation, a blue card for 4, 6 power, 3 block. 6 power blue is like already playable. It's like at least 3, right? It's a blue popper.
I know a couple of brutes that would kill for another blue 6.
Yeah, but unfortunately not a brute card. It has Rune Gate. Yeah. So Rune Gate is this new mechanic where if you control rune chance equal to or greater than the cost of this card, you may play it from your banish zone without paying its cost. So you can only play it from your banish zone if you have 4 or more rune chance. And when you do so, it's going to cost 0 basically.
And here is where we cry for our grasp once again. I mean, how
Yes.
do you collect 4 rune chants?
With the Grimoire, right?
Right,
You simply
Grimoire is
go-
1, and Banishing is 1, and then
No,
the
no,
other
no.
2.
Grimoire is going to allow you to play, read the runes with Go Again, which is going to give you 3, and Bind is going to give you 1.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you
but
go-
again, and when you draw your second Widespread Annihilation, what do you do?
Block 3.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so it has the effect that a lot of these cards share, I believe, is when the combat chain closes, each hero who has lost life this turn banishes a card from their hand. So this means that it's basically going to happen to both you and your opponent, because like the idea here is, I believe, you use Vincent's ability prior to attacking with this, because this is going to attack coupled with like a few rune chants at the very least, and these rune chants, one of them is going to hit for sure, which means then they will have to banish a card from their hand, which they will not be able to use. If you have to banish something from your hand,
Unless there are Levia, where they can pretty much use it.
Levi can't use it, but another Vincent can. So I guess not great in the mirror. But like the other thing is that you can choose to play this in a situation where you have no other cards in your hand, just to not increase your blood depth. You can use it together with like something like Morgan Skies or something like this to kind of increase, kind of like widen your turn, right? So if you go the turn that we set into before playing this, going like Morgan Skies into attacking with this, and if this hits and it's a red Morgan Skies, it's going to generate like 3 more rune chants, which you can then spend for like a Rune Gate 3 card from your punish zone. But like this seems very Magic Christmas Land turn sequence.
Yeah, it's very conditional.
Yeah, it's a standalone card in my opinion. This is a 5. You will absolutely love playing this card. Like if you have a moment where you can play it, it's going to be good. It like gets rid of a card from your opponent's hand, which is good. It's a 6 power, 3 block blue card. It's just baseline very good.
Yeah, it is very good.
So we agree on 5 stars?
Yeah,
Okay.
we agree on 5.
Then we have Widespread Destruction. So this is the yellow Widespread card. It's a Rune Gate 3, so 1 lower, another 6 block 3. When the combat chain closes, each hero who has lost life this turn banishes a card from their arsenal. So this is the CNC-like card. I'm just going to rate this as a 5 once again.
Yeah, of course.
So and then we have Widespread Ruin, which is the red one. That's Rune Gate 2. When the combat chain closes, each hero who has lost life this turn banishes the top card of their deck. So this is like the weakest effect in terms of affecting your opponent, because it literally does nothing. But it is the one that you can play the most consistently, because it's just
only
Gate
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then again, it kind of extends your next turn, because you will most likely cause yourself to lose life, and this is going to banish the top card of your deck. And because this deck does not banish like 6 cards at the beginning of your turn, you can very comfortably actually run Blood Depth on your entire deck, or like cards that have, because like most cards that can be played from banish have Blood Depth anyway, so you can just run a lot of these cards and just have like a very good chance of like hitting a card that you'll be able to actually use next turn, kind of making your next turn a 5 card hand by default. So yeah, it's just a 5 again, right? Like these are like your Majestics, kind of like the...
Considering her gameplay and game style, and that these are the only 3 Majestics that which is another, there's a 4th one, the Funeral Moon or whatever it was called.
There should be like 3 more, but like 1 isn't spoiled yet.
Okay, I mean, you need to auto include, because these are the only 3 with Rune Gate, right?
I mean, there's other cards with Rune Gate. I believe all her cards
out of the Majestics.
Yes. I mean, these are just great, right? Like
yeah, they are.
Next is Funeral Moon, a Shadow Rune Blade action. So this is what we had to look for, which is like non-attack Shadow Rune Blade cards, in order to kind of allow you to trigger Vincent's ability.
Pay 1 life to make unpreventable damage to kill
but you can only do this with when you play a Shadow non-attack action. So in order to guarantee these, you have to play a Shadow non-attack action, which, I mean, these are going to be coming in with like some amount of rune chance as well, so that's going to make them very, very hard to like fully block anyway. But like if you want to trigger like, for example, Widespread Ruin on yourself as well, you'll have to lose life in a way. So Funeral Moon says you may play this from your banish zone baseline, which is very good. If your hero has lost life this turn, you may play this as though it were an instant, and then
this is the greatest part. I mean,
yeah, and
instantly create a rune chant. This card is just bonkers. I love it.
My problem right now with this card is that in order to use Vincent's ability to lose life, you need to first play a Shadow non-attack. So you cannot play this and then continue playing. Right? You need to play another Shadow Rune Blade non-attack in order to use her effect to lose life, in order for you to then play this at an instant speed, to not lose your action point, to create a rune chant.
Yeah, well, you would always want to play this as an instant. You don't want to play
Yeah.
it's just an action.
Like technically you can use the Grimoire to do that. Then again, you can just like if this is the only card in your hand, you can just play it. Like there's nothing bad in that. Another cool thing, I guess, is if you banish the Funeral Moon off of like anything, you can use Flail at the end of your turn, lose life, create a rune chant, and after it hits, use the Funeral Moon to create another rune chant, and then next turn her ability creates the third rune chant, and you get the
3 chants
3. Yeah.
for the gate. But the thing is, there's way too many cards and way too little Grimoires.
That's also true. Like with this, I'm going to rate it at 4. I don't think it's like as exciting or powerful as the widespread attacks, but it's most definitely going to see play as well.
I will rate this one at 5 as well. This is one of the few ways to make a rune chant on instant speed, if not the only one.
That's true.
It's a must play. It's a must play.
And then we have Oblivion, a Shadowrun Blade instant blue for 0, legendary instant specialization, so you can only have one of these. And it says play this only if you control exactly 6 rune chants.
So Revel in Rumblood or Bust, and then you create the new demon, right?
Yes, and you can see her summoning the demon on the art, which is like very, very cool.
I want to play mat. I want to play mat with this art.
Yeah, and this is
awesome.
the demon. Very, very cool. It is 6 power, 6 life. Once per turn for 0 attack, and then if it hits a hero, banish a card from their soul. If a light card is banished this way, you gain 1 life. So I think the on-hit effect is incredibly relevant.
It is, and the demon is incredibly playable. If you have to compare this to Ursa or Plasmafet, this is the playable demon.
I mean, it's slow commitment, right? Like you only have like 1 Oblivion in your deck. You probably have ways to set up 6 rune chants, and then again, this is like a 6 power, 6 health ally that can attack every turn for like 0. So you don't even need to keep cards no more. You can just attack with him as long as your opponent does not deal with him. And dealing with the 6 health allies is relatively hard. So this is getting a 5 for me, definitely.
Oblivion is definitely a 5, and I really love to get my hands on the Marvel version of the demon because it is amazing. I don't know if it will be like a promo card like with the other 2, or if you'll be able to open it in a pack, but I definitely want that one.
Yeah. Then we have
Deathly Delight. Okay, so we have a Shadow Runeblade action attack. It's red, costs 2, attacks for 5, defense for 3, and it has Rune Gate. So again, one of the more easy ways to play a Rune Gate thing, because as we agreed, Flail plus ability makes 2 Rune Gate relatively easy to play. When the combat chain closes, gain 1 life. No, gain life equal to the number of heroes who have lost life this turn. So in best scenario, you gain 2 life if you're not playing ultimate fight or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you're always gaining 1 life, because like if you lose life, then you gain life. It's like
it's actually
whatever.
1 life spent for free. Yeah.
But the way I'd rate this is probably like 3 or 4. Rune Gate 2 means that you will probably be able to consistently play this for 0, because even if you have not utilized Flail last turn with a blue card, you can still use the gloves in order to make your second rune chant and just attack with Deadly Delight. And with how many effects you have that require you to lose life, having a card that's awkward to block, and like 5 is one of the more awkward to block numbers that gains you life, is probably going to be like a very good utility. So I'm going to rate it at like 3.5 or like 4, something like this.
I think it's 4.5. This is one of the rares that you will play in the deck no matter what.
This is fair. This is a fair take. You have Deathly Whale.
Deathly Whale, that's again something with Rune Gate. It's a Shadow Runeblade action attack. It costs 3, attacks for 6, defense for 3. And when the combat chain closes, create rune chant tokens equal to the number of heroes who have lost life this turn. So again, it's a guaranteed rune chant for you.
I feel like this is definitely a 4, if not a 5, right? Like Rune Gate 3 may be a little harder to make, but like it's still definitely possible. But the thing is, if you use this card together with her effect, which means that both you and your opponent definitely lose life, and this is like your final attack or your only attack, and it's definitely going to make 2 rune chants. It's just
rune chant is sick. Yeah, I mean, Vincent is very rune chant hungry. So like that creates this, it is great.
This means you're most definitely going to be playing like I forgot the name of them, but there's like 2 Runeblade cards that create 2 rune chants when you play them. One just creates 2 rune chants, and the other one requires you to pitch a non-attack action in order for you to create rune chants. And now you have like yet another version of that effect, and she seems to very much needs these kind of effects, because like this very easily sets up another. Like if you pull this off, then next turn you have a free Deadly Delight for sure. Like nothing can go wrong, right? And like even better, if this creates 2 rune chants, her ability next turn is going to create the third one, so it's going to allow you to like just play another Deadly Whale.
Well, what we have in terms of creating rune chants, I can think of Rumblood Incantation, which is an aura from Everfest.
It's probably going to see play actually.
every turn. I just bought a full art recently because I really love the art. And then you got attacks like Spellblade Assault, which attacks and also creates 2 rune chance, leaving him behind. So that's something you can look into in terms of setting up a turn.
Yes, and there's like I forgot which set, was it like Dynasty or something? We had the cards that have like different effects based on if you've pitched attacks or non-attacks for them. And there's a card
that is from Dynasty.
Yeah, you have a card there which is if you pitch a non-attack action for it, it's basically Spellblade Assault, right? It's the same card. So you do have quite a few attacks of the same thing, of the same tier. So yeah, that's about it.
I was thinking of Dynasty. There's a card called Cryptic Crossing. Do you think it will see play? It is the one that says if an attack action card and a non-attack action card were pitched to play Cryptic Crossing, it has the first time this deals damage to a defending hero, they discard a card and you draw a card. It's yellow. It costs 3, attacks for 6.
I think that it's way too big of a commitment for that card. You need to pitch attack action and non-attack action for that card specifically. You can't pitch attack action for something else and then play this card pitching a non-attack action for its effect trigger. So.
And there goes your entire turn. Yeah.
Yeah. So after Deathly Wail, we have Envelop in Darkness.
Is it envelope or envelope? No, envelope spelled differently, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Envelope in Darkness. Create a rune chance token. Yeah, there we go. The next attack action card you rune gate this turn gets +3. Okay.
Yeah, this is creates a rune chance token. I believe there.
Go again.
Yeah,
shadow rune action which we need, non-attack.
Yeah. I'm going to rate this as 4 simply because it's a shadow runeblade action. Because I believe generic runeblade has a very similar effect on a card that blocks 3. It's like 1 cost, create a rune chant, your next attack gains +3, something like this. On the red version.
I don't think so. No. If it has to be from Arcane Rising. And I don't think you can create a rune chant buff your next attack. I don't think that's happening. No, I don't know a card like that.
Nee. Просто има така карта.
Добре, ще го къпнеш явно.
Да. Anyway, this is definitely playable at the very least because it's a shadow. It's shadow
runeblade action. Yeah.
And we do need those. Yeah, she needs just shadow non-attacks, which is good because we can play like Shadow Puppetry. It does not have to be Shadow Runeblade.
Shadow Puppetry is insane.
Yes.
Right, moving on to Rift Skitter. It's a Shadow Runeblade attack action that costs 3. It's red, attacks for 4, defense for 3. It has Rune Gate, and it has Go Again.
So this is just the Shadow Runeblade version of that one Runeblade card that is like 3 Go Again, but costs 1 less for every rune chant.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think this is going to be a little bit more deck specific because like after you attack with this one, what do? You kind of have to continue playing from your hand, which is not that bad, but like a lot of your cards are so costly, which means you probably once again have to play like a lot of blues. So it's definitely not bad.
It's obviously made so you can play it. If you have, I mean, it's kind of like Runeflesh, but I don't know which one I prefer at this point, considering this one has Blood Dead and Runeflesh doesn't. Runeflesh.
Yeah, like Runeflash, at least you can like play with 2 rune chants, right, for 1. This one you need to have 3 rune chants in order to play, but you can play it from your punish zone, which is like definitely good. I'm going to rate this with like 3.5. It's just reasonable. I'm just not sure how
I can agree on 3. I can agree on 3, but that's it.
Yeah. Then we have Phantom Raid.
Phantom Raid, and then so we have Phantom Banshee and Phantom Raid.
Yeah, so Phantom Raid is just 2 rune gate for like 6, and Phantom Banshee it's his brother, which is like 3 rune gate for 7.
3 for 7, yeah.
So these are like very basic, very vanilla. If anything, the raid seems more playable, right? Generating 2 rune chances seems like
way easier. 3.
But then again, if we're going to be playing like a lot of copies of like Spellblade Assault and Spellblade Assault like cards that are going to be generating 2 rune chants, and then we're just going to generate 1 more with new hero. There's definitely a case where attacking for 7 with 3 is not going to be that hard to do, and this is just a better 1 character, right?
So scoring the rate at what, at 2, 2.5?
I'm going to score both of them at 3 because it's like very, very contextual on like how consistently you're going to be able to be making 2 rune chants compared to 3.
And it also depends how many more Rune Gate cards we'll get, because if these are the ones, obviously you'll need to play it if you want to utilize them.
Yeah, I feel like we already have like plenty, right? Like all of these are like Rune Gates, and we're going to have like copies of them. I believe this is last. We have Shadow Runeblade action, 2-treat Steerings for 3. You may play this from your punish zone, which is good. The next action card you play, your Rune Gate this turn gets +5. So
it's a nice bump.
Yeah, this kind of synergizes with the idea of playing a hell ton of blues. This is definitely going to help you with that. I'm going to rate this at
2.
I'm going to rate it at 3.
Like, it's too much.
Yeah, maybe because
Yes,
you still have
well,
Hollow from Beyond, I believe, which is
exactly.
which
Both
is just
Levia
better.
and Vincent will play Hollow from Beyond, which is strictly better than this one.
Yeah, sure. Then okay, it's you. You convinced me immediately.
Nice.
Okay, and now we get to talk about the big boy in the room, actually, which is Levia Redeemed, together with Blasphemous Levia Consumed.
Exactly. Would you prefer to be redeemed or consumed?
Redeemed looks better. Consumed is the playable part of the
stronger. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I mean, if both of those, I mean, redeemed might be okay for Blitz. But when it comes to classic constructed, definitely.
Yeah, let's read it and we'll discuss it after that. So both of these are basically heroes that they are one card, so it's double-sided as you can see, and they stay in your sideboard and you put them over your Levia whenever they trigger. So Levia Redeemed as an action, which means that it does not have go again. You kind of spend your point in order to do this. It says turn all cards in your banish zone face down, transform into Levia Redeemed. Activate this ability only while this is in your inventory and you have 13 or more cards with Blood Depth in your banish zone. And then it has the passive ability of cards you own lose Blood Depth.
Yeah, and the ones that you turn face down also lose Blood Depth.
They also will not trigger. So you basically remove Blood Depth as a keyword from your deck, which can have like some anti-synergies with certain cards. Like I absolutely love the flavor of this because like flavor is obviously she has beaten the hunger and blasphemy, and like Blood Depth is no longer something that she suffers from. Unfortunately, the moment you do this, you become an 8 health hero. Like if you were able to do this whenever and like be on like 30 health or something like this and just like lose Blood Depth and just play your cards normally, in a way, it would have been better.
But what do you mean better? It would have been broken.
Maybe. But with this, I feel like this is like purely for flavor. Because like at 8 health, it's like way too late. And then again, you need to basically spend your turn transforming, right? Unless you roll Scab Skins and like get an action point from there. You kind of have to spend your turn just, or at least an action point, right? Just transforming, which is not great. But on the other hand, in the scenario where Blasphemous consumes Levia, it's way better. While this is in your inventory, when Blood Depth reduces your life points to 13, you may transform into Blasphemous Levia Consumed, who has 13 life points obviously. And then once per turn, you may play a card with Blood Depth from your banish zone. And whenever a card is put into your banish zone, turn it face down. If you would lose life from Blood Depth, instead banish the top card of your deck.
Again, the flavor of this is great. I don't know how they come up with this, but this is simply amazing. I watched the preview of Mansan that he reviewed the card and explained a couple of things. It is great. I think this is the better version of the Levia that you want to play. How you play it, there's a little specific when it comes to Blood Debt. You don't lose all the Blood Debt at once. It's like ticking down arcane damage from Rune Chance. It's 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. So if let's say you're at 20 health and you need to take 9 Blood Debt, the minute you tick down to 13, then you can play this and switch it.
Yeah, and you immediately stop losing, right? Because you just banish a couple of cards.
You just banish a card, yeah.
Yeah. So like this is obviously great because you can set up a situation where you're like as close to 13 as possible. And then hopefully you have like a good turn where you avoid triggering Levia's ability on purpose, and you transform into Blasphemous. And the insane thing about Blasphemous is this line of text where once per turn you may play a card with Blood Depth from your banished zone. So you can now start playing things like the Dread Screamer and like all of your go again enablers with Blood Depth from your banished zone yet again, as basically a 5th card.
Yeah, technically this is like 6, potentially 6 red Dread Screamers.
Yes, and we now have access to this other Blood Depth Gokin card that banishes a card off of your hand, which becomes a lot less taxing when the card itself is coming out of the banish zone. So,
I mean, I love the card. It's a really nice legendary. You can obviously always choose, if for some reason you pass that 13 life point, you can always play the other side. It only counts as just one card, so it gives you options. Yes. It helps Levia immensely.
Yeah, it's definitely a 5. I can see Levia decks trying to play around the Blasphemous and try to build a late game where they have just insane gas in their punish zone and they just transform into Blasphemous, on purpose, and then just try to kill you with like constant above rate 5 card hands.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very, very cool to see what's actually going to happen with this. So it's definitely a 5, right?
That's what I was going to say. It's absolutely a 5. And the thing is that I was more hyped about Vincent, but looking at Levia cards, I think I'm leaning more towards playing Levia now.
Yeah, I mean the Blasphemous Levia Redeem card itself like kind of escalates the hype a lot.
Yeah.
Here we have like
the equipment.
The darkness side of the equipment package, right? It's just as cool as the light one. It's obviously way more edgy. But basically all of these are going to share the same effect, and it's going to be very similar to the light cards, where if your hero will be dealt damage, you may banish this to prevent 2 of the damage, and then it has Blood Depth. I'm going to rate this slightly higher, in my opinion, than the light
Yeah.
versions. Reason being that if you're playing Levia, you will be turning off the blood depth off of these very easily, and the moment you become redeemed or plasma fed, you won't even care about that, and then you essentially have just a free prevent 2 equipment. And
that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. But what part of the legendary equipment of Fireplace would you change for Shroud or Cloak or whatever?
the gloves probably, right? Because she does not have gloves.
Okay, and that's that.
Yeah, and for Vincent, this can have like a similar utility to Dromai.
Yeah.
Yeah, where Dromai plays this card that allows them to just pitch a resource just because they want to, and with this you may be able to just trigger one of these if you want. Like this is a possibility. I'm not sure if people are going to use it, but like the idea is that you can very early get a blood depth card into your banish zone that's going to be constantly ticking you, but that means that you will be losing life.
So you can
guaranteed every. Scratch that. It does not really work. Right? Blood depth is at the end of your turn, and the cards trigger at the end of the combat chain. So.
Okay, so you will get this.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, next we have Chains of
Mephetis. That's how you read it? Yeah, Chains of Mephetis. That's a shadow action, or you may play this from your banish zone. If you do, it enters the arena with a doom counter on it. At the start of your turn, destroy this unless you remove a doom counter from it. If a hero would throw a card during an action phase instead, it's normally malklass mogłość.
Instead, they banish the top card of their deck and may play it this turn. So, I'm not too sure what the utility of this card is yet, right? Because it's basically going to trigger twice, because you play it, you get a doom counter, then you remove the doom counter, and the next turn it will get destroyed. And if you would throw a card during your action phase, so it means like after your it will not trigger like during the end of your turn, so it's going to trigger off of something like Art of War or something like this.
It's a very weird card. I cannot fully realize and comprehend it.
Yeah, it does not really stop your opponent because they can still play it this turn. Maybe it can help you in some way, but then again, I was going to say you kind of need to know the top of your deck, but you can like run very heavy blood depth decks now. But even if you do, you still have plenty of cards that are not blood depth. Like I find it very hard to believe that you're not going to be running like the Rune Chan generations that we talked about in Vincent, that are all, like the majority of them are not shadow cards, they do not have blood depth. So like hitting something that does not have blood depth, I mean it won't matter. Even then it won't matter, right? Because you can just play it. So like, why does it matter that it's there?
There's a greater idea behind this.
I guess the idea is like hitting rune gate things, or things that trigger when played from the banish zone. This is going to help you with that, right? Because like if you play this and then you play something like Organian Tome, instead of like drawing a rune gate card, you just banish the rune gate card and you'll be able to play it after that. But I'm just not sure how.
Let's just leave it at 3.
Yeah, like 3 is absolutely fine, right? It's a 0 aura block for 3 blue. It's a shadow action, so it's going to trigger Vincent. So it's just good. Like it's just basically good. Then we have a few shadow cards. Hungering Demigod. 2 for 6 block 3 shadow action attack, blood depth. If an opposing hero has 1 or more cards in their soul, you may play this from your banish zone. So that's nice. And then when this hits a hero, banish a card from their soul. So I can see this be played more in Levia, if anything. And it's great. Like I feel like this is I'm going to rate it as 4 the same way I rated the light card. It seems like in that matchup specifically, this card just seems great.
Yeah, it is a really nice card. It gets 4 from me as well.
Yeah. Green Feast is a shadow action for 3 that blocks 2. It says you may play this from your banish zone. If you do, it costs 2 less, gain 3 life. So this is basically the shadow version of the life gain card. It's a little better than the light card. So if we rated the light card with 2, I'm going to rate this one with 3.
This one's going together 3-1, yeah, from me as well.
Yeah, like reason being, it's a shadow card, but it does not have go again. So I guess it's still 2, even though it's a little better.
Again, I don't think life gain has place in this particular set and heroes and the way they play.
I mean, it's shadow, it makes more sense because you lose life in shadow
but
heroes.
But it costs 3, it's not even instant, it's an action, and it destroys an entire turn.
I guess it costs 2. You may pay.
It costs 1 if it's from banish.
2. Green Feast 2. Right?
Yeah, Green Feast 2.
Life gain is not great. That's about it.
Moving on, Vial of Inquisition. That's a shadow action. That's blue, costs 2, and you may play this from your banish zone. If you do, it costs 2 less.
Yes.
Target hero banishes the top card of their deck. If it's blue, they lose 1 life.
So this is once again very strange. Like technically, once again, if you're running like a very blue-heavy Vincent deck, you can. But then again, this does not have Gorgon, right? It's not an instant. It does not have Gorgon. It's just a 2 for me.
It's awkward. It's very awkward for me. I cannot fit this into Vincent or Via. Why are they playing this? How are they playing this? I don't know.
Yeah, I too don't know. To be honest, this seems to be the blue version. So if we have a red version that says banish a red
3 card.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that it's going to be, if it's red, they lose.
They lose 1 life, and the yellow is the same for the yellow.
Yeah, like if it also scales the life loss, I can see this card be played actually. Like if you're playing against a red heavy deck and you have like a shadow action that's basically a lightning bolt, it may not be that bad actually.
Yeah, for instance, if you play against Dromai.
Yeah, but I mean, it will still just go from like 2 to 3, like just maybe. And it's like, once again, if we assume that the life loss also scales, which I doubt, so Violent Position is just going to be a 2 for me.
Yeah, I was going to say 2.
Then we have Soul Butcher.
Ooh, that looks nice. That's a shadow action attack. Red costs 2, attacks for 6, defense for 2. And if the defending hero has 1 or more cards in their soul, this gets +2 with Bloodlet. I think it's a typical Levia card.
Yeah, I feel like maybe both can play it. Like it's just a 2 for 8 against the light heroes, which is just incredibly on rate, especially for like a 2-cost card. So I'm going to give it a 4 in that matchup specifically, and
obviously it's a sideboard 4.
Yeah, it's a sideboard 4. Otherwise, it's just 2. Right? Like the great difference between that and Hungarian Demigod is that Hungarian Demigod at least blocks 3.
Yeah.
So yeah. Then we have Soul Cleaver, 2 for 6, blocks 2. If the defending hero has 1 or more cards in their soul, this gets Gorgon.
This is slightly more playable for Levia, but still it blocks only 2.
Yeah, I feel like Levia is definitely, like, if she has to play any of these, she's definitely playing this one, right? It's Blood Death Gorgon, like, almost for sure. But like, yeah, it's once again 4 sideboard.
Yeah.
Then we have Besiege the Demigod, Shadow Action, has Gorgon finally, costs 0.
There you go.
Choose an attack action card in your banish zone, it gets +3 power until end of turn. I think this one is a 5, if I have to be honest.
Yeah, it is conditional, but I mean, the only problem I have with this card is that it blocks for 2. Otherwise, it's what you need. It's a shadow action. It has go again. You can obviously buff +3 the card that you banish at the beginning of your turn with Vincent. So
yes,
yeah.
And it allows you to obviously lose life, trigger all the important majestics. Just looks good overall.
Yeah. This one will be played.
Next, we're down to the specialization of the area heroes. So all of these have like the unity keyword. So we'll start with like Anthem of Spring. It's a 0 Earth 2 block that says Earth action, that says your next attack action card you play this turn gets +1 Gorgon. And then for Unity, when you defend with this and a card from hand, create an embodiment of a token under any number of heroes you control, or like heroes control. Anyway, in my opinion, this is at least a 4 in Briar.
Yeah, this could have been a 4, but the thing is that Briar will be out of the meta by the time we get to play this card on tournament.
I'm not sure about that, but
it just needs to get some like a win at something like a Battle Hardened that are calling
yeah, but
whatever.
I don't think there's like enough of these tournaments before the set arrives, right? Because the set arrives like less than a week. But anyway, like, how would you rate it? Like, in my opinion, it's a 4. Like, the +1 on the blue card is on rate.
Yeah.
And like Embodiment of Earth allowing you to, like, if you hit with an Embodiment of Earth and this one creates Embodiment of Earth, and basically all of your 2 blocks become 4 blocks, allows you to like block it with 2 cards very easily, which like against Guardians at the very least is going to be like insane. So it's just borderline very good card. Northern Winds, Ice Action, block 2, 0, Ultimate Specialization, does not have Gorgon. Says freeze up to 1 equipment item and or ally each hero controls, and then with Unity, if you block with this and another card, you will get a Spellbane Aegis token, which I believe is a Spectral Shield for arcane damage.
Yeah, and that's just because Odin wasn't strong enough, so he needed this one.
In my opinion, this card is like as close to 1 as possible, simply because they said that this freeze effect, they kind of changed the keyword to mean freeze for 1 turn, unless specified.
No. If it's just for 1 turn, it's unplayable.
Yeah, it's just very, very bad.
I thought it just freezes it forever.
Yeah, if it frozen forever, I would have been very excited for Old Him in Living Legend, because right now I don't think you have a reason to play Old Him instead of Bravo, even if you want to be playing some incredibly tanky build. And this would have been the reason for that, but unfortunately, I guess a 2 is my rating. Call down lightning for Lexi, a light action, blocks 2 again for 0. The unity is create an embodiment of lightning, which is interesting. And then you have, embodiment of lightning gives go again to your next attack, I believe. And then you have attacks this turn. Get whenever the defending hero adds 1 or more defending cards from head to the chain link. This deals 1 damage to them. Go again. So this card, I'm going to give it a 3. It definitely seems and feels playable. I'm just not sure that like the current Lexi has space for cards like this.
Current Lexi doesn't need it.
Yeah, current Lexi would play as many arrows as possible, and this is crucially not an arrow. But if we see some nerfs to that playstyle and Lexi ever goes back to the Ice Lexi builds with like Ice Vein and like the other arrows that have like on-hit effects, this definitely seems at play like very strong for that playstyle, right? Because they can no longer dodge or like not dodge, but they can no longer block the on-hit effect of those arrows.
Yeah, but the only thing that can push Lexi back to this build is something getting banned from her current build, which is not happening anytime soon, I think.
Yeah, but you know, maybe they just say that like the entirety of Outsiders is unplayable for Rangers until Lexi are outside, you know, maybe. Then we have a Rugged Roller.
Rugged Roller. It's a rare brute weapon that's a 2-handed club, bounce pattern, 1 resource, attack for 6. It's all just done for shits and giggles. Yeah,
because you can activate this only if you've rolled a 6 on the die this turn. So this is most definitely a 1, but then again, it's going to be incredibly funny with Kyle. So
I was going to say this is a weapon for Kyle.
Yeah, but like nevertheless, it's a 1.
It is. I mean, everything that's like luck dependent. If you have to roll dice to determine something, it's a no-go.
Yeah. Then we have Scowling Flashback.
This was actually interesting.
Yeah. It says block 2, Helm, Blade Break. When this defense, Intimidate. So basically, kind of stops your opponent's turn in a way, right? You can like Intimidate is random, obviously, but you reduce their hand with like an additional card. This card is definitely interesting. In terms of how playable it's going to be, I'm going to put it at like 3.5 or something.
Because I wouldn't go that far.
In terms of, I mean, it's very, very good, and I believe as a card that you can play instead of Crown of Providence, it's going to do the job very, very nicely for brutes. And I hope that this card costs like a lot less. Like if this card's like 30 euro or something like this.
This will be a 25 euro card. I can promise you that.
25,
in the Rainbow Foil.
It's going to be like very, very good for budget players. But I feel like just Crown of Providence for like the competitive gives you more advantage.
Yeah, because the thing is, what will you do? I mean, if you defend with this one, sure, you intimidate at random, you might stop something that has like a very tall turn or a very wide turn. But then again, Crown of Dominion is going Providence. Sorry, why am I thinking Dominion?
Yeah.
Crown of Providence is gonna block 2, switch a card from your hand, or just get an extra card from your arsenal to your hand, with which you can block the following attack. So.
Yeah, and it's going to dodge CNC and CNC light effects, which is like another like very, very good utility of that card. But then again, like Scowling Flash is still good, right? Like in Brute, very often you need to, like, your big turns are going to be over like 4 cards, and you need to keep them. And this card is going to allow you to do that, right? Because it's going to stop your opponent's turn.
All this does is just buying you some more time.
Yeah, but sometimes this is what you need, right? Like if you're like very low and you absolutely need to survive in order to pull off your like double Blood Rush battle turn, like this card just allows you to do that. Way more consistently, I guess. So like I hope this is 30 euro, and I hope that like
we'll go with 3 on this one. I scored with 3.
Yeah, 3 is fine. I kind of wanted to give it 4, but like 3 is fine. Then we have No Skill, a 2/6 block 3 brute action that says when this is in any zone, its cost to play, its power, and its defense cannot be modified. So in my opinion,
can you please explain what's going on?
On the art was the card. Like this is obviously brutes do not care about their surroundings, so this card does what it says and nothing can stop it. So in my opinion, this is an automatic 5, and every brute is just going to run this card.
Yeah.
It's just it is going to ignore like Prism's Herald of Triumph. That's going to reduce your card's power to 5. It's not going to reduce this card's power.
Frailty token when it's in Arsenal.
Yes. I believe Icelander will not be allowed to play like the Frostbites will not reduce this card's cost.
Yeah.
The defense will not go down of a Spider's Bite from the Assassins, and Brutes anyway won't be able to play like just solid 2/6s for some of their turns, right? So
yeah. Also negates Shreds, negates like Lightning Beams if someone wants to play them for some reason.
Yeah, it's just very, very solid.
Yeah.
Then like to counteract that, we have Dig Up Dinner. which is a brute action with Go again, 3 block for 1 resource, which says choose 3 random cards in your graveyard, shuffle all attack action cards with 6 or more power chosen this way into your deck, then gain that much life. Banish this. So this is, in a way, a better remembrance in brute.
It's a brute remembrance, yeah.
Yeah, it's very good, like the flavor, I fucking love it. But in terms of like how usable this is, I'm just not sure. Like how often and in which matchups do you want remembrance in brute? I don't know.
I don't know. Usually the game is over way past that point where you want to get cards back to your deck.
And it has like the counter synergy with like Leviathan, because you want to have cards in your graveyard in order to banish them with your like Monarch Leviathan cards. So I'm going to rate this with like 2.
2 just because we don't know yet what might this come in handy against, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not as awful as like a roller.
Like a roller is nice.
Yeah, then we have Starstruck, a new Brawl specialization that I'm immediately rating as 5.
At 7. I'd rate it at 7 because it costs 7 and it's absolutely bonkers. This card is amazing.
Yes, so it's 7 yellow that attacks for 10. And it says Crush, when this deals 4 or more damage to a hero, the only attack they may play or activate during their next turn are attacks with base power greater than the damage dealt this way. So if this deals 4, they can only play or activate 5 and more powers, 5 and more attacks. If this deals 10, they can only play crit clickers basically. And yeah, it's just a very, very solid card. A lot of the times it's just going to be your 6th copy of something like Spinal Crush. There are situations like if you do not dominate this, certain decks will be able to do like block 6 with 2 cards and then play something like a Lightning Strike for 7. And in these situations, it's not that great. But against one of your some of your worst matchups like Dormai, this is going to be just insane because it says they cannot activate.
It switches off Dormai, it switches off Katsu, it switches off Fire, it switches off, I mean, like,
the majority of these decks, like if not all of these decks, can do the play where you block 2 and then go into E-Strike for 7. Like if that happens, you're like very sad unless you dominated this effect, but it's still very solid, and it becomes even more solid when you read its unity effect, which is when this defends together with the card from Kent, create the Seismic Surge token under any number of heroes you control, or any number of heroes. So basically what this allows you to do is block with 2 cards, which as a guardian you already do, and then get a Seismic Surge for free, which can then allow you to either attack with something like Debilitate or Chokeslam off of 1 blue, or if you've activated Tony Plating the previous turn, you get 2 Seismic Surges, which now allows you to just send a Spinal Crush off of 1 card. And I feel like the unity effect is almost better than the Crush effect of this card.
I think that they're both great, both effects are great. The card is just nice, and Bravo needed this because it's been with us since day 1, Welcome to Raid, and is quite far from living legend, so he needed that push.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to like move Bravo tier, but at the very least it's going to keep him competitive with the rest of the decks. So it's very, very nice. Then we have Decimator Great Axe, a new warrior weapon axe that's a rare. Attacks for 3, once per turn for 4, and it has the effect where the first time this is defended by a non-equipment card each turn, half the base defense of target defending card rounded up. So if it's a block 3, it becomes a block 2. So this, some people say it's greater than the previous axe, it's better than the previous axe. If you just win with it alone, I'd assume so, but I'd imagine that in an axe build you want to be able to be pumping your axe, and in that case, I feel like Overpower is going to be better than this effect, because this effect is realistically going to reduce 1 block off of your opponent, because you do not reduce the armor of all of your opponent's cards, you reduce the armor of target defending card. If you're playing some game plan where you just swing the axe once every turn, this axe is going to be better than the previous one, because this axe basically says you cannot sink below this, right? All of the 0-for-4 defense reactions just become 0-for-2 against the Decimator Great Axe, which is good, I guess. But right now I'm going to rate it with 1, once again, because we simply do not have a warrior that wants to run axes, nor do we have great axe support.
I was going to say, axes in warrior suck.
Yeah, right now they do.
No need, yeah, of course, probably in time we'll get someone that's wielding axes in a great way, has like a nice hero ability or whatnot. We have few cards that pump axes and do shenanigans, but at this point this is a no-go for me, and I rate it with 1 as well.
Yeah. Then we have Bastion of Unity.
Finally, warriors are getting shields. Yeah, that's so nice. It has Unity, so when this defends together with a card from hand, this gets +1 defense until the end of turn. It has Temper, and it's at 1. This might be playable, but not at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to rate it at like 2. That's about it. Like
why 2? Why not 1?
I'm not going to rate it at 1 because we have seen certain Dorinthia builds where she will try to play a very slow to fatigue-ish game plan against decks like Uzuri and so on, where she will just be swinging with her weapon, and technically she can just use like
One Centauri Saber.
yeah, like a Centauri Saber or a Bolton Axe, like depending on what she wants to do. Probably Centauri Saber, if I have to be honest.
Saber is strictly better than one axe.
Yeah, and then Bastion of Unity is just going to give her like essentially +3 defense in that matchup, which can prove crucial. Now, the probability of that happening, I admit, is like pretty low, but it still has like way more utility in my opinion than just the axe.
Perfect. Okay, I'll rate it a 2, but I'm not convinced.
Yeah. Then we have a new legendary arm equipment for warrior, which is Iron Song versus. Says once per turn action for 1, your next sword attack this turn gets when this hits hero, create a courage token, go again, and it has temper.
Yeah, why are they switching to temper?
I don't know, like in general, I don't think they have been printing much, if any, battle worn equipment anymore.
Yeah, because Brave Forge Braces is better than this, I think.
I'm not sure. Like, if I have to be honest, I like this way more. Like, the effect is way better in my opinion. Like if you're running Bolton, especially if you're running Raiden Bolton, you can basically have it so that you can allow your Raiden to create a courage token. So if your turn sequence is attack with a card, give it go again, attack with Raiden, and just basically end your turn there. This card can allow your Raiden to gain an effect where he will create a courage token for your next turn, so you'll be able to like more fluently give your first attack go again, so you can attack with the Raiden. And in Dorinthia, I think this is better.
Yeah.
Because like the previous one says your second attack gets +1, so you need your first attack to hit anyway. So for both cards, if your first attack does not hit, they do absolutely nothing. But with this card, you give your first attack a on-hit back. So if you have a turn where you just kept one card, you can pitch one card, activate Iron Sword versus attack with just an empty sword. And now, if your opponent does not block it, you get a courage token. If your opponent blocks it, you're fine because they had a reason to block it, so they get rid of a card. And the thing is, if they don't block it, next turn, if you decide to keep a hand and attack them, a 4-power sword is like much harder to defend than a 3-power one. Like just the math gets a lot more awkward. And I believe this is just going to help you better. This is going to help you more because like I feel like the other one is just a win more effect, right? Because if you hit your first weapon attack, your second weapon attack, you don't care, right? Like it can be for like 1, your opponent will have to block it, else you're getting your +1 counter. So that's why I think this is just better.
Maybe, but still, it helps a lot because a lot of the time, a lot of people are very aware of the price these days, so they would just let the first attack hit. And then you have to use your refraction bolters. And speaking of Dory, because if the card was meant for Bolton, that would have been Bolton of the art, and he's not.
I think it's playable in Bolton as well, right? Because like you just do not have gloves for Raiden Bolton anyway, right? Like you cannot.
Well,
use...
they could have put him on the card. Come on,
sure,
but anyway,
sure.
But the thing is, yeah, this makes more sense and will make your opponents think of blocking your first attack, because if you're out of refraction bolters, and the only way to get like another attack or go again because there's no reprise or nothing, well, it's just better because your first attacks now mean more. But the temper part is a bit disturbing.
Yeah, like you're essentially losing one block indefinitely in a way. But then again, I think that the upside of having more consistent tempo is just going to be better.
Okay, fair enough. So we're rating this with 4.
I'm going to rate it as 5 if I have to be honest. I think Dorinthia is going to probably immediately switch to this, and I think Raiden Bolton simply does not have a better option.
Okay.
Then we have the new Dorinthia specialization being Chorus of Iron Song. Blocks 3, 1. It says, until end of turn, target dome deck gets +1 and damage this will deal can't be prevented. And then Unity, if you block with this in another card, you get a courage token for next turn basically. Generally, I like courage tokens. Unfortunately, the bonus damage rate of this card, like +1 for 1 mana, is horrible. The damage you deal can't be prevented.
That's made to deal with Prison's Angels.
Yeah,
funny enough, because they're fighting on the same side, so there's no reason for them to fight with each other. But I guess we get some flaws in the law.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how to rate this card. Like, I believe like the entirety of the value of this card is in the damage this would deal can't be prevented.
Can't be prevented, yeah.
So I feel like if you're running this, it's going to be against Prism. It's going to be against Prism if Prism ever plays a playstyle where they want you at instant speed flip a few angels, or if they already had a few angels and they're like, okay, I'm going to allow you to hit, and then you attack with the Chorus of Iron Song. And because they do not have many angels, I feel like overall, if you're going to be playing this card, you're going to be playing one copy of this card, simply so you can search it with her other specialization in the scenarios where you need it. Like in a scenario where your opponent has like 2 angels on the board, and you attack with a down blade for like 6 or like doesn't matter however much, and they're like, okay, I'm not going to block, and I'm going to allow my wards to take up the damage, and you just go Chorus of Iron Song or like something that searches Chorus of Iron Song, and now they can't prevent it, and you not only destroy their angels, but you also deal the damage to them. Can be like game winning.
Yeah, but I understand that, and unpreventable damage is really nice, but we had a discussion, I think it was yesterday, with a lot of people on the last Armory. What we thought is that it's about time they change how unpreventable damage works, because it just seems unfair to have one unpreventable damage that destroys 3 angels, for instance, or whatnot.
I kind of have to disagree with that, because I believe that the angels themselves are balanced around that, right? Because like, if you did not have that option, the angels are just insane, right? Because the moment Prism attacks you with something and then flips 2 angels on you, and she has the tempo, if you did not have that card or like similar cards, you literally can't win, right? Because she's basically like 8 health ahead on the board.
My 2 cents on the matter was that unpreventable damage needs to stay and work the way it is as intended. But Prism players were saying that this is just not right and that LSS will change it.
Prism players, yeah, I know, I get it, actually, Prism players.
Shout out to Sunny, who was supposed to come with us for this dissection of spoilers, but he skipped it. More kill.
Yeah.
All this is from the lore.
Yes, it's a warrior instant for 0, it's blue. The next time you will be dealt lethal damage this turn, you may banish Minerva Themis from your hand or arsenal to prevent that damage.
Okay.
I'm going to rate this at 1.
Garbage. Absolute garbage.
Yeah. Minerva Themis, I believe, is only playable with like a Sai Blitz, and then like, would you be running like a blue non-block instant to like prevent lethal?
This is entirely done for the flavor. It has nothing to do with playability.
So I think 1 is right. Next we have a Scepter of Pain, a rune-blade weapon, one-handed scepter. So this is our second one-handed weapon.
Yeah.
It says one spell turn action for 2 resources. Deal 1 arcane damage to any opposing target. Create a rune champ token for each damage dealt this way.
I think I like this weapon.
Yeah, if I have to give resource, like.
Doesn't have to cost 2, but then 1 arcane damage to any target is bonkers. It's something that Kano had, like, I mean, Wizard in general had, and that's it. And now Rune Blades are getting this. I think this is definitely playable.
Yeah, I think it's playable. Now, would I run it instead of Flail? Is probably a no, if I have to be honest. Like, you know, like, I have to keep a card for this. Flail is 0. And then my opponents are definitely playing 1 arcane barrier against
at least when they play against Runeblade, yeah.
Yeah, so like maybe against something like Dormai, like where you can use the arcane damage to like kill dragons, it's going to be good. But that's about it. Like, I'm just going to rate this at like 2.5 or like 3, which is like the best we give to these weapons.
I was thinking 3, yeah.
Yeah. Then
the quest, the Past Beyond. That's a Runeblade action with go again. Sadly, it's not a shadow action. And it's a Viscerai specialization, which is really weird because we haven't seen Viscerai lately apart from Zach Bunn.
Here we see him like in the Void World, I guess. Anyway, the next Runeblade
attack. Yeah. Action card, you play this, then cost 1 resource less to play for each rune chance you control. I have Scalita vibes.
Yeah, but yeah, like there's like the good here is that it says attack action, so like they have specifically made it so it does not work with like Sonata, which is unfortunate, but then again a very good decision.
It's a fair decision.
Yeah,
I don't know as well. It's really weird. I mean, Viscerai has been far from meta lately, and this
card. He's really good, but like the thing is, like, what does this card do, right? Because you anyway have a bunch of like the majority of your attacks are already discarded. They have like cost reduction based on your roll, right? Like your more expensive ones.
Discounted,
yes. So yeah, I don't know. Like it's a maybe. But
it's a non-attack. It's a non-attack action. Yeah, it has go
like,
again.
I feel like all this card does is just a non-attack action that essentially acts as a blue card, right? Like instead of like pitching a blue for like your shield, you can use this.
Attack, you use this to load it. Yeah.
But if I have to be honest, I'd much rather like instead of this probably play just a blue block 3 card.
Yeah, I'm not convinced on this one as well. I'm gonna score it with 2.
Yeah, I'm also scoring it with 2. if we see something like very huge, like 10 cost or something like this, in the
Well, you
future.
got the wedding cake. The wedding cake's quite pricey, but that's that.
Yeah, but this is not.
It does nothing.
It's not does not have cost reduction on its own. But
Exactly, so you get double cost reduction.
yeah, it's still a 2.
Yeah, it's still a 2, right? Moving on to Runic Reckoning. That's a Runeblade action with Go Again. This costs 1 less to play for each rune chant you control. This is strangely familiar. The next Runeblade attack action card you play this then gets +3.
Yeah, this
I don't know.
this is definitely playable in Viserai. I think I like it. You're maybe likely to have like a leftover. Like you don't even need a leftover, right? Like in Viserai, you can very easily just pitch a blue to create
A rune chant from Grasp.
Yeah, then just play Runic Reckoning, which is basically a 3 damage non-attack action into like any attack, and if that attack has
Into
like,
forming Runeblade, for instance, create a rune chant.
yeah, into that.
So on and so forth.
It's just good. Like I'm going to rate it a 4. It's just
This one, yeah, I was going to say this was way better than the specialization that we've seen.
yeah, and to be honest, this is also very playable in Briar. At the very least, like Briar will love this, obviously, because like it's a 4 blocking Briar as well, so it's very good. Like Runic Reckoning,
Card.
very
Yeah,
good.
scoring it with 4. Moving on to more cards that we'll never play competitively.
Yeah, like a Shiana specialization, block 2 costs 2, attack for 2, has Unity that gives us Eloquence, which is very good. But then again, it's Shiana specialization.
It's Shiana. Yeah.
It's definitely a 1, but the effect is very, very cool. When this attacks, the defending hero reveals their hand, you may choose an attack action card revealed this way. If you do, this becomes the chosen card. So the dream is you play against the Guardian, you attack them for 2, and this becomes a Crippling Crush, a Pulverize, something insane.
Something huge. But the thing is, you rated it with 1, but the art is really nice. The effect is really good. Although when it comes to the art, I think they have way too much clothes on them. If they had less clothes, I'd rate it a 3. At this point, I'll give it 1.5.
Fair. 1.5 is fair. Then we have
Reality Refractor. That's an illusionist weapon orb. Illusionist auras you control are weapons with 5 base attack and 1 spell turn action for 2 resources attack.
This is an immediate 1. This is probably going to be a less than a 1 if we had it. The thing is, Iris of Reality, which is what this competes with, even in Commoner. Yes, it costs 1 more, but Iris of Reality gives you Auras Go Again. And even if you're like, well, what if I don't want Go Again and so on.
You always want Go Again.
I mean, even if you don't want Go Again, the text on Iris of Reality is a little bit different, where Iris of Reality says that your auras are weapons only during your action phase, which means that they synergize with something like Glisten, which gives them +1 counters until the end phase. And because during the end phase they are no longer weapons, the counters from Glisten stay. Which is not true for Reality Refractor. And I feel like Glisten is something you want to play if you're playing
Auras.
Yeah, like if you're playing Iris of Reality. So it's a 1 for me.
It's definitely a 1.
Then we have Diadem of Dream State. Ward 2, Illusionist Head. Once per turn, when this or a non-token permanent you control with Ward is destroyed, you may pay 1. If you do, create a Ponder token.
I'm very torn when it comes to this card. I still think Halo is a bit better.
Halo is definitely better. I'm going to give this card a 2. This card seems to be made about for this sort of like Ward Illusionist archetype that they're trying to make, that is playing like full Ward equipment or something like this. This synergizes very well with things like the kimono from Dynasty.
At some point, yeah.
Yeah, where like the kimono, I believe, said when a non-token ward is destroyed, you get 1 resource. Both of these coupled, you can.
But when will you prefer kimono and this diadem, considering the art is hideous, to Tunic and Halo?
Like in Prism, never. But this is why I'm giving them 2, because like the cards themselves, like baseline, are not bad. Like the effect is not bad. It's just like good value overall. The problem is that we just don't have enough synergies or like reasons to be playing these cards right now. But if we have like in the future a illusionist that also benefits from like wards getting popped or something like this, or like has a way of like preventing or like keeping these cards on the field for like longer, maybe. But as of right now, just
the reasons. Who needs reasons when you're Herod?
Yeah, it's just 2.
Right, it's just 2.
Then we have Flicker Trick, which is a 0/5 illusionist defense reaction that has a new keyword, which is Mirage, which is essentially a reverse phantasm, which is if this is defending a card with 6 or more power, destroy this.
Well, this is awesome. I've always wanted to D-react that defends for 5. That gets destroyed when you try to defend something that actually has threat.
Yeah, I'm going to rate this with like 2.5 to 3. Like it's obviously above 8, and blocking 5 has its value, right? A lot of Lexi's attacks are attacking for 5. The combo starter for Katu is attacking for 5. these are good targets to defend react over. The problem is that if your opponent plays any form of attack reaction or like buff on top of the flicker trick, you lose a lot, right? Like the punish is like way too big, and the benefit of like just running flicker trick instead of like wait for scene or scene below is just
because it's just one more defense, and that comes at a huge cost that at some point will be devastating, as you said. Because even if you try to defend ninja, and you said the combo starter is 5, there's like ancestral empowerment apart from the red razors and whatnot that they play. It just makes no sense. Plus, imagine trying to play this against Uzuri, you'll get wrecked every time.
Yeah, like you're definitely not playing this against Uzuri, but the thing is that even against like Ninja and Lexi and so on, there's just a situation where just the punish is just too large. Like
a lot of arrows after 5, but then they have rain razors. So
yeah, like if they match your rain razors with this, you just lose way too much.
Yeah. So I'd say 2.
Yeah. Lost in Thought, on the other hand, a very good card in my opinion. It's an illusionist action with go again for 1 that blocks 2. It's a red card. It says look at target hero's hand and choose an attack action card. If you do, they put that card on the bottom of their deck and they create a ponder token. So because the ponder token they create is during your turn, during the end of your turn they will draw a card. So during their turn they will have the same amount of cards they had. So it does not screw with their hand size, but it basically allows you to remove a popper from their hand. And if they only have 1 popper, you are very very happy. This in Prism, I'm not too sure how amazing this is. We're yet to test it against Guardians. Against Guardians, I feel like they will have like 3 poppers in hand, and this will be absolutely nothing.
So it makes no sense. This is like Phantasmaplasm on a non-attack action.
Yeah, it's way better than Phantasmaplasm in my opinion. Other decks are like, we should test this against Uzuri, because Uzuri is a deck that has poppers, but they're like not that much, where you have like, you frequently have like hands with like 1 popper, and even if you have like 2 poppers, both Prism and Rumai have turns where they play around 1 popper. So like if I play Lost in Thought, get rid of 1 popper, you still have 1 popper, and I just put a Chromai on the field. It doesn't matter, right? Like all my dragons will connect. And yeah, like in Prism, not too sure, but in Rumai, I believe this card is probably a 5, right? Like you will want to play this card against the matchups that it matters.
Gives you way too much information and way too much advantage.
Yeah, like in Rumai, I believe you will frequently have situations where you have a bunch of dragons on the board, like even if it's like 2-3 dragons with like some Ashwings, and you just pitch a red, play Lost in Thought, it's a red card. You only need these 2 cards, right? You get rid of the popper, you start attacking with all your dragons, and it's just a very good 2-card hand.
Yeah, it's very good.
Then we have Hold the Line, a 0 cost defense reaction, a blue one, the defense for 2, that says if the attacking hero has drawn 2 or more cards this turn, prevent the next 3 damage that will be dealt to your hero this turn.
Okay, so who draws 2 cards? That's an Art of War turn, and it just looks out of War, and that's it.
I mean, not really. It's not only Art of War. You have
Tom of Iendo.
Yeah, you have Tom of Iendo. You have Three of a Kind. You have Briar. You have some turns where she draws a lot. Like you have Tom of Harvest. You have like Gorganian Tome into like something else. It's not only Art of War. Yeah, but you can play like Gorganian Tome into I play one of the draw card if it's played from Arsenal card side.
Plunderen.
No. The Earth one. There's an Earth card that you play from Arsenal, ship or something from your graveyard, 1 cost, draws your card.
It doesn't matter. The thing is, the 2 main reasons for this card to be played is Art of War and Three of a Kind. That's it.
Yeah. Overall, I feel like it's too specific right now. Like the cost of playing this is not that high. Like it's a blue. Like 2 block is not that bad. Especially if your opponent is likely to pull off some of these turns. But even with that said, I feel like 3 is like the most I can give it.
I'd say 3 because it actually does quite a lot. It actually defends 5 if it fulfills its purpose.
Yeah, it's slightly better as well, right? Because you can like block something and then it still has like this lingering prevent 3.
Yeah.
So
let's rate it as 3.
Yeah, I think 3 is good enough.
Yeah.
Then we have Poison the Well, a generic instinct for 0 that says the next time a hero would gain life, this turn instead they lose that much life.
Okay. I don't know which other life-gaining decks apart from Dromai at the moment.
Well,
but I think this is a really nice counterplay, and it was about time we have a card like this.
Yes, I'm going to rate this at 3.
Yeah, definitely 3.
So yeah, 3 is I feel it's fine.
Are we looking through the bannerets?
Yes. before the Bannerets, we already rated the Phantom Banshee. Angelic Rat is a 0 for 4 Religionist instant that gives a Herald +4 on the red version. I think all of these are kind of useless.
Yeah, they do not block. It's just overkill of something that usually connects. Because I mean, 7 is enough.
Yeah, like you don't. Yeah, like you're playing the Red Heralds. The Red Heralds are like very difficult to block. You're completely fine with your Red Heralds being blocked. And against the decks that are going to be blocking your Heralds, you also kind of want to have cards that block as well. And against slower decks like Guardians,
because you know they're gonna swing
Yeah.
back, and when you have no defense in your cards, this is not an ideal situation.
yeah. But I mean, even if you attack with the Herald, they're just going to pop it. So it's just like kind of seems useless to
Well,
me.
there are things that remove Phantasm, but still.
Yeah, but like then again,
No,
it feels like very, very. I'm going to rate it up 2, and that's
I'm going to say 2, yeah.
okay, so the banners. So basically, bottom receive a bunch of yellow banners, which are all meant to be charged. So this is definitely going to help him with have yellow cards in your deck that you want to charge. So first we have Banner of Courage, which is a 1/4 yellow card that blocks 3, and they all have the Soul Flare ability, which is when this is charged, it does something. And this one says, when this is charged to your hero soul, create a Courage token. In my opinion, this is hands down the best one. It basically allows you to go wide easily, right?
I would say this is the only playable one, but let's move on and see.
Yeah,
I'll definitely rate it at 4.
I'll rate this at 5, right? I feel like you want this no matter what.
Yeah.
If you play this with the card that has go again baseline, you can give your next card go again with the Courage token. If you charge this with, like, you just say one attack, charge this past the turn, next turn you have a Courage token, which is going to allow you to start off your turn well, so it's great.
Yeah,
Then
it's
we
great.
have,
Armourer of Gallantry, which is again Soul Flare. When this is charged into your hero's soul, create a Quicken token. I don't know how usable would be the Quicken token with bolting, because usually get go again through its ability. So
I think it's almost better than Courage in a way, because once again we talked about how you want to keep cards in your soul, because like no matter which version of Bolting you're playing, you're having the Lumina turns, and for the Lumina turns you want like 3 cards in your soul. For the
you're on the Lumina plan, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, both decks are on the Lumina plan. Like, Lumina is by itself, like, very, very strong, right? It's like in Raiden, you don't even need the Courage because Raiden himself costs 0, so you can just continuously attack with, like, Raiden for 0 for, like, a few times with Lumina. And, like, Lumina is going to pay for itself, but then in order for your opponent to not be able to just stop your Lumina turn, you want a few cards there. We saw that new attack reaction that wants to have, like, at least 2 cards in your soul in order to play it for its full value. You have Celestial Cataclysm, which requires 3. You have like white turns with like the new Spreading Flames like card, and like you have like Vanguard, which is like all turns that require you to have like 3 or 4 cards in your soul in order to get the most value out of that. And Quicken Token just gives you go again without having to expend your soul. So with that, I think this is also a 5.
Yeah, you know what? I was looking at the Bannerets prior to the rest of the cards for bolting were revealed, and to think of it now, yeah, Bannerets are actually good cards.
Yeah, and you almost have to play a certain number of them because they're like just baseline good, like in terms of stats. And
yeah, it's 1 for 4, defense for 3.
Yeah, and you want like yellow cards.
And they're yellow, so you can charge. The next one's Banner of Protection, when it says when this is charged to your hero's soul, create a Spellbane Aegis token, which I have no idea what is.
Spellbane Aegis is effectively a Spectral Shield, but for arcane damage only. It's
Do
token
we
that
have
says it's not in this set.
Okay, is it from Dynasty?
I believe so. It basically
Has
says
to be.
prevent the next one arcane damage.
Okay.
So yeah, I think this is playable. I'm going to give it 3 for the wizard matchup. Like notoriously, warriors have trouble against wizards, and with this together with the sword from Dynasty we got, which gives you Spellbane Aegis as well as like the new Bolton Armor that allows you to prevent 1 damage during your turn if you've charged. You have like a bunch of different pieces that allow you to just absorb some arcane damage here and there, basically.
Yeah, every little helps.
Yeah, so I'm just going to give it 3.
That's a 3, yeah.
Then we have Banneret of Resilience, which says Soul Flare, when this is charged to your hero's soul, the next action card you defend with this turn gets +1 defense. I'm rating this at 2. The only way you can use this is with the new armor, and even then it's like not amazing. Because
warriors don't want to block with cards, they want to block with gear.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you want to block with cards, like, will you really be spending like deck slots just
No.
for like these situations? Like, definitely not.
Yeah.
So I'm rating this with 2.
Okay, it's fair.
Banneret of Salvation. When this is charged to your hero soul, the next time you hit this turn, gain 1.
I guess it's okay because it is a yellow card. It
Yeah.
is 0 for 3. Worst comes to worst, it charges with yellow what you need, and then
Yeah, I'm rating this with 4. It's not as exciting
is
or
a
as
4.
powerful as like Courage and Gallantry, but it also costs like 0, so it's like playable on its own at worst. This, like the combo build, I like a lot more because there I kind of try to survive until I collect like the Centauri combo, and this is definitely going to help. But yeah, it's just nice. It's cool.
It's cool, right? And then the last one,
We have
Battlement of Vigor,
yeah.
which is when this is charged to your hero soul, the next time you hit this turn, gain 1 resource. I'd say this is again quite playable, and you want to play this, but again not as exciting and powerful
Yeah.
as the first two.
Like it's once again going to depend on like how much space can you dedicate to the banners inside of your deck, which I have no idea right now. Like I can't give an answer to that because like now the question is how often would you want 1 resource after you have attacked, right? Because you need to attack with something that's 0 and then this gives you a resource, and then like what are you spending that 1 resource on?
You're spending it on the gloves.
Yeah, actually you're spending it on the glove. That's true. That's true. So yeah, I'm going to rate
nice
this.
card.
I'm going to rate this at 3. I feel like it's good, but it's going to give you value much less than like the banner rate of salvation. Like banner rate of salvation feels like guaranteed value. Banner rate of vigor, not as much. But then again with the gloves, yeah, I'm rating them both as well.
They're the same. They are the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's that. I think we've done it. Everything that's
I mean,
been
unfortunately,
released so
you lost card.
far. Oh fuck. Wat teraz is piłe.
What was just good?
Oh, check. Esa poluje.
Shaden Dead Hydra, a Shadow Brute attack action that is yellow for 6 resources, attacks for 13 and blocks for 3, has Blood Debt. It says when this attacks, it deals X damage to you, where X is 13 minus the number of cards with Blood Debt in your banished zone.
Perfect. So this is played against everything apart from Vincent Lavaya. That's that.
Yeah, it says 13 minus the number of cards with Blood Debt in your banished zone. So basically, you kind of want to play it after you've accrued a bunch of Blood Debt.
Okay, I misread it the first time. You can scratch that.
Yeah.
So actually, what this does is a lot of damage for a lot of resources. It's a
It's very much above it, right? It's like 6 for 13, where you have like 14 for 10 with Guardians. And you have to remember that with like Plasma Fett, you get to replay this later, right? And you get to replay this later in
and
the game.
you have no blood dead cards with Plasma Fett.
That's also true.
So if your cards lose blood dead, once you switch, you can't. So this has to be pitch stacked, and it's for the later parts of the game.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. This has
Or turn 1.
turn 1 deal 30 to myself. I don't know.
Why not?
Because why would I deal 30 damage to myself?
Аз не му...
То прави...
Вече съвсем спрямо това. Това ти прави 13 на тебе минус
Да.
Blood Dead картите. Значи искаш да го изиграеш след като имаш Blood Dead карти преди Блазмофет.
Да. Okay, so it's basically a 6 for 13, which is like very much above rate. That you want to play like around the mid game, because like late game, Blazmofet is going to basically
Remove the blood debt from your
Yeah.
cards, and early game you won't have enough blood debt, so you'll deal a lot of damage to yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to rate this card as 5 if I have to. I think that Lev is definitely going to play it.
It will.
It seems just way too powerful as like a 3-card turn. Like even a 2-card turn, like if you manage to Arsenal, this is just.
You arsenal it, and then you just keep 2 cards, and here I come for 13, 1 card.
And another thing is that like Levius lately have been trying to play. Was it? Как се казва Guardian Card, дето показваш някакви неща и да има големи. Трябва да кажеш неща с 13 power. Монархия.
Rouse the Ancients.
Yeah. So lately, Levius have been trying to play Rouse the Ancients in their decks, and like this card synergizes with like Rouse the Ancients.
The really easy win, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely a 5 for me.
It's a 5.
Yeah, then we have Blood Dripping Frenzy, a 2-cost blue card,
Shadow Brute action.
that blocks for 3. As an additional cost, you play this, banish your hand. Draw a card for each card with Blood Depth banished this way. Your Brute and Shadow attacks get plus X this turn, where X is the number of cards with 6 or more power banished this way. Go again.
Okay, that's very gimmicky.
Yeah. Yeah, this is basically because it costs 2, right? Like you have to pitch something in order to play it. So like best case scenario, you banish 3
banish
6 power
2.
cards. Like if you play this from Arsenal.
and 3. How many of them will have 6?
Like even if 3 of them have 6, right? Like you basically played a very convoluted queue for like +3 on your next attack.
Yeah, there are better +3s. Probably there's something we're not seeing in these cards because it's a majestic.
Yeah, it gives the plus to all of your Brute and Shadow attacks this turn.
And with all the Brute go against that we have.
Like technically, I guess what you can do is like pitch a blue, play Bloodrush Bellow from your arsenal, discard a card, get you like 4 cards in hand. Play
When
this
Levia playing Bloodrush Bellow.
forever. It's the best card in Levia.
It's the best card for Brute in general, but
Yeah.
still.
So after a Bloodrush turn, so in a Bloodrush turn basically, you play Bloodrush from arsenal, then you play Dripping Frenzy, then you banish 3 6s, draw 3 more, and now all of your attacks are basically +5. So if you go pitchy blue,
And then you roll for the legs
like
to get
you don't even need to roll, right? Like if you draw like double blue, so like this is obviously the dream. You
Well,
pitch,
yeah, I was going to say, hey, but if you don't draw double blue, what do you do?
you cry. But if you draw double blue, you can start attacking with the claws for like 8 each, and then you can swing like a swing big for like 13. So that's a 30 damage turn.
And it sounds like a play that happens every once in a blue moon.
Yes. So I'm rating this card with 2. It reminds me of Berserk, the card that we got from Dynasty, which is just an insane combo turn that Brute can pull off, which hopefully I won't see ever.
Yeah, if they play it against you, it's devastating. Next, what we have, it's a Spoiled Skull, and this is a Shadow Brute equipment for head.
Yeah.
Action. For 1 resource, banish this. Target 3 action cards with different names in your banish zone and choose 1 at random. You may play it this turn. Go again. It has Arcane Barrier 1 and Blood Dead.
This,
Very mixed feelings.
I guess it looks okay, right? It's an Arcane Barrier piece, so it's just better than running an Arcane Hood.
Mhm.
And for like 1 resource, it can allow you to play something from your banish, I guess.
If you have no other options.
Yeah, and like the good thing is that it's like target reaction cards with different names. It's no longer cool. I was going to say you can target 3 of the same thing and basically your opponent has no choice. But with new cards, we have like enough redundancy where you can maybe like target 3 cards that do almost the same thing.
I guess, but still. And plus, wasn't there another Brute head piece with Arcane Barrier?
Yes, but it has Arcane Barrier too.
Okay.
So like maybe against Stormblades, this is what you're playing. So I'm going to give it 3, mostly because of the Arcane Barrier 1 over here.
Yeah, because the other effect is, it is playable, but it's
like very, very situational, yeah.
Yeah.
And the last card is a Tear Through the Portal, a shadow action, red for 0, blocks 2. It says choose a red action card in your banish zone. It gets go again until end of turn, go again.
Go again. I think this is very playable.
Yeah, I think this is very playable as well.
This is a great addition to Vincent.
Yes.
This is also great for Levia.
For Levia, less so because she does not have as many things she can play out of the banish. But definitely an option. But like for Vincent,
Yeah.
it just seems very, very cool. Like if you already set up your own chance and you can go Tear to the Portal, something for like 3 rune chance, go again for 6 with a non-hit effect. And you still have like 2 cards with which you can like do Rosetta and like just a 2 for 5, like a 2 for 6.
Yeah, this is a good card.
Yeah, this is definitely a good card.
I'll give it a 5, and it's a common.
Yeah, I mean it's still contesting a slot with like other things, but I mean technically, I don't know. I was going to say maybe we run this instead of like Morgan Skies because it's a shadow card. But then again, like Morgan Skies has like this very nasty on-hit effect that we actually do care about a lot.
On-hit of Morgan Skies is amazing, and you want it, and you want to play Morgan Skies against Dromai, definitely.
Yeah. So like at the end of the day, maybe there's not enough space for this card. But it's the very least a 4. It's like that's the ceiling of the card. That's the ceiling of the floor.
The floor.
Yeah.
I still think it's 5, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Right, and that's it. We've done it. So thanks everyone for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell us what you think. Tell us what you agree with. Tell us what you do not agree with. Different views, different takes on the card. Much appreciated. It helps the algorithm.
Bye bye.